Good morning. I am a little bit earlier than 10 o'clock, but that's okay. I figured I could go ahead and go live and get you guys the second part, and you guys can watch the replay if you need to. I know there are a few of you that are going to have to, so that's okay. All right, so last night we left off with we were working on the hair, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue. And I'm going to grab a little pencil because I want to kind of show you where I'm going. Oh, let me see. There we go. So I'm just going to kind of go around. I'll show you what I'm doing. Hold on just a second. Just kind of creating a line for myself to follow so I don't go lopsided as I'm going around. I should have showed you this part last night, but that's okay. It's all right. Okay. So you can see I kind of made myself a little line. It's kind of faint. And I'm just going to keep gluing. Hopefully I have enough. Yeah, good. Oh, really quick, let me show you this. This is the little flower that we're going to be making on Monday. I think it turned out really super cute, and I think that a lot of people are going to really enjoy that. And it's a great beginner-friendly class for craft foam. So I'm just going to, I probably need to cut a few more of these. So I'll go ahead and do that. Hello, Laurie. Good morning. How are you this morning? I'm just going to cut up some pieces of the hair. I hope your day is off to a good start. My mom and I got up and had some coffee, and we went out and walked the garden, which is doing amazing. I need to post an update on my garden and show y'all. But we also, there's a mulberry tree in my neighbor's front yard, and we went out and picked a couple of the mulberries. They've given us permission to go out there and get them. They don't do the mulberries, but we do. So that was nice. Lori said she's really cute. I can't wait to try. I'm telling you, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see yours. I think it's going to be awesome. I highly encourage everybody to try this. I think y'all will all be blown away. I think the longest part is if you get super glue that doesn't set up really quickly, and then you have to hold on to it for a while, like you kind of saw last night. My super glue, I had the one wasn't setting up very quickly, and so taking that time to just make sure it sets up, that can be the longest part. But if you have good super glue, it'll move quickly. Not the same quickness as it would with hot glue. I'm just cutting up a bunch because I know I'm going to need them, and I'd rather have extra than not enough, which I'm sure I'll end up having not enough anyway. As many as I've cut, I'll probably still need to cut a few more. I haven't been counting either, so I just cut a few, like 16 to 20 at first, and then kind of go from there. Dawn said maybe this weekend I'm going to try and do both Bee and Mermaid. Ooh, cool. Yes. I cannot wait. Excuse me. Coffee always makes me have to clear my throat a lot. All right, let me grab her back. So we are just working, I don't even need that. We are working around her head. So the way that I do this, I take that piece that I made and I just keep it folded in half. And I try to keep them pretty even though hair's not really exact. And then I'll just line it up with where I made that line so you can kind of see that faint line right here. And I'm just going to go along that line with my pieces. Let's try and see if we can get through a couple at a time. So instead of just making one, I just added a little strip of hot glue right there. So I'm going to pick this one up and I pinch it together and lay it so that it stays kind of pinched, folded together. Another thing I love is how forgiving this craft is. Y'all got hot glue spider webs. They drive me crazy. Okay. I am going to go ahead and do this just so that I'm not rubbing up against this mat that might have a little bit of that crayon or it's set already. And again, I'm just going along the little line that I created. I'm just gluing it to the top, and you notice I'm not gluing a strip right now. And I'll kind of glue some of the hair down here in just a minute, but I do it this way first. Got a little piece of hot glue that is showing up. There we go. My mom and I made squash cornbread last night, and it is delicious. I think it's even better when it's cold. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I even eat it for breakfast because it's just tasty, savory deliciousness. It's more like I would call it in between a cornbread and a casserole. It's really, really good. We have a lot of squash coming up in the garden now, so trying to come up with different things we can do to eat some of that squash, use up some of that squash. I told Mom we're going to have to learn a bunch of new recipes. Okay. I just flipped her over so that I could go and see the other direction. My pinch unfolded. There we go. And I try not to stick my hand in the glue so I don't make any of that white stringy. And then I'll stop right behind her ears. I'm going to put one more right there. Okay. So now I have, she's bald on top. And now what I'm going to do is, and I am going to need, I can tell, I think I'm going to need a few more pieces. So now I just take these pieces and you can either do it as a part in the middle or you can do it off to the side. So like this would be off to the side right here. So she'll have that kind of, whoops, let me zoom out just a hair. There we go. So she'll have kind of that like overhang bang, or you can do it right in the middle like that. And that's what we're going to go for, is right in the middle. So I'll go ahead and mark another line so you can kind of see where I'm working from. And I try to go about where the ears are. So like no further forward. I don't want to come forward too far because then I will shorten her forehead. And I'll show you kind of like if you were to put that right there, you would really significantly shorten her forehead and not give her as much room. So by going back a little further, it kind of creates that rounded shape of the head. So now I'm going to make a little dot right in the middle, like basically following the line of her nose, and I'm just going to kind of faintly draw a line straight back just to give me kind of a guide. I don't know if you guys can see that. Excuse me. And I'm just going to start gluing. So I take it, and I don't glue right on the line, I glue right next to the line so that I can put the other side right up next to it. And then just smash it in. And I'm going for a middle part, and I like the hair to come down in front of her ear. Good morning, Karen. It's early for you, I think, where you are in California. Okay. Another way I've seen people do the Little Mermaid, doing the craft foam, is actually using the craft foam for the hair. But in my opinion, this is a little bit easier using the yarn rather than the craft foam. And it's less craft foam that you're using. And it adds a mixed media quality to your character. So you're using multiple different pieces. You can add in more like different things rather than just sticking with all craft foam, which either way is fine. I find it a little bit easier and more enjoyable to do the yarn. I like yarn hair. I do have my glue gun on high heat, but I've had my glue gun so long, I think that my high heat is more medium heat. Not quite, because I can touch it pretty easily, but I still don't want to let it sit too long before I put stuff on it. Okay, I'm going to put one more on this side, and I knew I was going to need a few more. Oh, Karen said yes, up due to pain. I am so sorry. I wonder, so does crafting create kind of a distraction from the pain for you? I'm hoping that it's helpful to distract from that pain. Okay, now you can see her hair on one side. Okay, and then we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to flip her over. And I'm actually going to go ahead and cut a few more pieces. Kind of like doing my lives earlier in the morning or in the day because my kids are asleep and they're not on the internet, so I have to worry about that. And it just seems like it's a little more peaceful. I don't know. Plus, I just like crafting during the day. It's kind of how I work. I guess what I'm trying to say is it kind of feels a little more chaotic or crazy in the evening. I think because I have like my puppy's getting tired and ready for bed. My kids are at the end of their day, so they may be more grumpy. Karen said, thank you. I do many crafts to help me get through the days. Nights are the worst. I am so sorry. I'm glad that that does help, but pain is, it can make you miserable and irritable. I know I've got a pain that I've had in my shoulder for probably a year. I thought it was a frozen shoulder. I think it still is, really. And I can't lift my left arm all the way up, but man, it's the worst at night trying to go to sleep and laying on that side. And I'm left-handed, so, but I'm sorry that you have that pain. It's not fun. Okay, now I'm going to go on this side. I'm going to add a little dot of blue right next to the other one. And then just lay that on there pinched. And you can see it's already, I mean, it's such a cute little character. I just love it so much. It's so fun to me to see the characters come to life. You know, when you're first kind of putting the pieces together, I think they kind of look silly. And then when you start to see them come together, I love it so much. Okay, so I didn't go all the way to the other piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my piece and just push it up against that other one, because I didn't get quite up to the other side. And pinch it. All right, now I just kind of lay everything down where I want it. Some of the little pieces get tangled, so I just kind of lay them, I straighten them out. Okay. Got one back here. And there she is. Now, like when I'm at the end, right before I put her on her stand, I will go ahead and glue the rest of her hair down and kind of lay it together, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and set her aside. I think she's really, really sweet. I don't think you can see her pink of her cheeks very well. Let's get a little bit more pink. It's interesting how it's not showing up in the live as much as I can see it, but I am going to go ahead and darken them just a little bit. I think so too. I think she's cute, cute, cute. All right, let's go ahead and grab some of this. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out. Just get a little bit more color. And I'm just going right on top of the other. That's better. All right, now I can see it a little better. I really love this color. I love this palette very, very much. And it's darker, it really is darker in person than it is showing on that camera. But we're going to set her aside, and I'm going to grab another styrofoam ball. This is the same size ball that I used on her head, and that size is in the It's in the supply list. So if you need to know the size, you can check by the supply list. And then I'm going to take this. This is where it's going to get creative. I'm going to find my sanding block that's somewhere. I've got one over here, but I don't know where the other one went. I just had it last night. Interesting. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is sand some of those rough edges. So I'm just smoothing it. I don't know if you guys can see it a little bit better this morning. You know, it's an uneven, like there's some ridge. I'm just going to kind of turn it around so you can see, hopefully. And it's got the little pimples here and there, which is not a big deal, but I'm just going to smooth that out. And I get these sanding blocks at Walmart. But you can also just use sandpaper. It's perfectly fine. If you're going to use sandpaper, you want to get the fine or fine to medium grit. You don't want that real, like, very grainy feeling. And I'm just smoothing those little pimples right now. And then that little divot where the little hole is, I don't know if they attach it to something and break it off or how that works, but when they're making it, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs, you just want to take the big bumps off. Okay, I'm going to set that off to the side. I don't think I need it now. Get my red yarn out of the way. Okay. Oh, good question, Dawn. Did you put up the website for the eyes? You used the other one sold out on Blue Eyes. Okay, let me ask you this, Dawn. Are you saying this one sold out for Monique Arts? Those eyes? Because this comes with brown, blue, green, brown, blue, green, brown. So 3 browns, 2 blues, and 2 greens. So you could do like the assorted pack. But so I would check Etsy. Monique Arts is where I got that from that shop. So, all right. So now we are left with a more smooth ball, but we want to create kind of a rock shape, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut the bottom kind of like we did for the head, right? So I'm just going to cut off a part of the bottom and I'll give you the measurement of it. I think it's going to be about 17, so very similar to the head, maybe a little bit bigger. We'll see. And then this is where it gets creative. Okay, so there's our start. And then you'll want to take your little character and kind of be checking like how she's going to sit. And you could totally just have her sit on this and have this be your round ball. I mean, have this be your rock. But if you want to create kind of the ridges like I did, so I just started kind of cutting down, and I'll show you that now. So I'm going to just kind of cut at an angle. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it like this. And I'm left-handed, so I like everything to be going the same, that direction when I'm cutting. And I'm just lining up with where I ended the last part. I'm going to turn it back around again. And I'm cutting in that same space. I'm just making sure that those points end up meeting. So that's what, when you see me rolling, I'm just going back to that other side. And I'm just trying to make those little pieces meet. And it should be about there. Okay. Rotate it again. There we go. So there's that. Now I'm going to clean it up just a little bit. rotate it, cut the other direction. So there's my first part of my rock. And then rocks are not even, so you don't want to just like go turn it to the other side and just cut it right there on the other side. You want to kind of create that rock look. So I'm gonna, here's the other side I cut. I'm not gonna go directly across. I'm gonna go more at an angle. So I'm gonna cut right here, and this time I'm gonna cut a smaller section. So just right there, and then rotate it again. And I can see, I'm just trying to line it up with where I ended my other one. Okay, and I'll rotate it again. Hi, Elizabeth. No worries. The live will be available to watch on replay if you need to go back and catch anything. You're not missing anything, so don't worry about that. Now I'm just going to clean this up. Got that. Now, to decide if I want to put another one in there. Let's see. And you can even like take this piece and cut off a little bit of that edge, which I'll go ahead and do to create some more shape to it. There we go. And I'm just going to clean it up again. Dawn, the size of the ball is in the supply list. You can just look in the supply list. It's the same size as the head for the girl. I'm just cutting that straight off to kind of create that more rock-like shape. And then I'll do the same thing on this side to cut that off. Okay. And then I think I'm going to cut this side right here, just straight down. Okay. Right there. I'm going to cut a little bit more out of that. And this is all like up to you. You decide how you want your rock to look. And I'm going to take this rounded edge off just a little bit. So I'm going to cut that. Okay. And it's going to create a little bit more of a rock shape. Now, there's my rock. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sanding block again and kind of, I didn't see it on the print list yesterday. So the styrofoam ball for this is the exact same size as the styrofoam ball for the head, which is 7 point something centimeters. Hold on. I don't think I kept the bag. But it's 7 point something centimeters. I think it's 2.8 inches is the dimensions of that ball. Like if you're going to get it from Walmart or Hobby Lobby, it's the 2.8 size ball. Now I'm just taking my sanding block and smoothing, like kind of rounding those edges so they're not sharp. So same thing on the top right here. I'm just going to kind of smooth it. Just a little bit. You want to do this on all the areas that have been cut. I really like, when I first started doing this, I was using just the sandpaper, and it's fine, it works okay, but I feel like getting in these crevices and stuff like that, using this sanding block has really made a big difference. And these are really affordable. I think it was like $3.50. It was less than $4 for the pack of 4 of these, and they last for a while. So that looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that a little bit more. Just because whatever is underneath your styrofoam, your craft foam, that's the shape it's going to have. So let me get this out of the way. I think I can set that down for now. Okay. All right, so now we are, actually, I really do like having that so you guys can see better. I'm gonna put this back up here. Okay, so now we're left with our rock shape. So we're gonna grab a piece of gray craft foam, and then I'm gonna cut it down. And for this, personally, I like to have, oh, I forgot to turn on my press. For this, personally, I like to have more than enough rather than not having enough. So I have a big piece, a big piece. And I'm just going to wait for that to warm up a little bit, or all the way. This. Alrighty, should be any minute, it'll beep at me. You know what, while we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and make the other part of our base. So for this, so we made our rock part. Now what, I'm gonna use a DVD or a CD, an old one from, this is like 2009, 2006, I don't know, 2006 maybe even. A friend of ours that we live next door to burned DVDs, so this is probably not even legal, but I don't know. Anyway, this was in our DVD box that we've carried forever, and so I'm going to use my CD or DVD and cover it. And the way I do that is I need 2 pieces, one for the top and one for the bottom. So I'm going to line it up on here. Take my marking tool. I'm going to use this pen. Hopefully it will act right. If not, I'll just use my pencil. I'm just going to trace around. Okay, and then I'm going to do it one more time so that I have top and bottom. I need a piece of paper to work on. Get my pen going again. There we go. This is just a heat erasable ink. Okay, so I've got all the way around. And I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and cut it out. And I like the X-Acto knife a little bit better than scissors for these. I feel like I have more control in staying on the lines. And I always pull it. And you can see I'll turn it. But I feel like I have more control when I'm pulling it towards me instead of away from me or anything like that. I'm going to cut this one out really quick, and then we need a strip for the sides, but we won't make that until we get the top and the bottom glued on. feel like I can be more precise with my cuts. I love using the X-Acto knife when I'm cutting out like the small pieces, like the hands and the fingers. I feel like I'm more control. Now, I will tell you, you're going to have to change your blade. If you find like that you're not cutting through things quite as easily, you want it to cut like butter. You want it to be really smooth. So if you're not having that experience, then you're going to want to switch your blades out. Okay, so now I'm going to glue this on the bottom and the top. And I'm going to use some super glue. I'm going to go ahead and be brave and use this super glue. Okay. I'm going to take my little wood skewer and just kind of spread this a little bit. I definitely want to kind of have it spread up towards the edge if I can, so it's less I'm having to go back and add later. Okay, so now I'm going to stick this on here. Pick this up and just make sure that every edge is covered and smash it down. I'm actually going to go back and clean up a little bit of this. Just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take this one and it's going to go right on top. Excuse me. Okay, now I'm going to take, and I bet my heat press starts beeping at me in a minute. We'll see. So now I'm going to take a strip of this. And the way that I like to do this that helps me is you can either use one of those paper cutters, or you can use a ruler. And I like to just add, let's look at this way, however much I'm going to cut. So I'm probably going to do about 1 centimeter. Okay. And you want to get it pretty even. And it's fun to use these little mats because they help you make even cuts. Okay. So now I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm just going to apply pressure while I'm pulling. And I'm probably not going to need this whole piece, but it's better to be safe than sorry and have more than enough. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull. Let's see. Yeah. So I can pull pretty good. So 1 centimeter is great for the width, or 1/2 centimeter. Let's say 1/2 centimeter, not 1 centimeter. 1/2 centimeter is good to start with, and then just kind of pull. Yeah, 1 centimeter would have been too much looking at my ruler. So I'm just stretching. You want to be careful not to stretch too Don't pull too hard. You want it to stretch a little bit, but if you pull too hard, I'll show you. No, I'm not going to show you because I'm going to need the whole thing. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to need that whole thing, so I'm not going to show you. But if you pull too hard, you'll run the risk of breaking your craft foam. Just trying to make sure it's pretty evenly stretched. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way. Take this, go right up here. I almost need to cut off a little bit more, but let's see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and glue it on, and then we'll trim if we need to. I'll show you how to trim it. So I'm going to add a little bit of super glue to start me. I'm just going to press that right up on the edge while it's laying on the table. Now I'm going to go around and I'm going to add a little bit of super glue. If I can get it to come out. And then lay it back down, use my table as a guide. Okay. Let that set for just a second. And I'm just waiting for that to set up just a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to take my scissors and at an angle I probably should wait just a minute more. Let's wait for just a second on that and move on to our rock. Let me go ahead and reset this for a second so it doesn't beep at me like crazy. So I'm going to grab my gray. I think I want a little bit smaller. Okay. Move this out of the way for now. Move this in front. This is the piece, really? Oh, ha, no, it's not. This is the piece. Okay, so I'm going to lay this on to my heat source and just rub my hand. And I want it to bubble up a little bit so that I know that it's really ready. Okay, I'm going to stand up. Pull down, turn, pull down, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of start to shape where those little crevices are since it's warm. And I'm just pulling that material, kind of tucking it as I pull. Okay. Go ahead and take this off, move that out of the way. And this is not wasted material because it didn't get warm enough to be able to not use again. Give yourself a little extra room. All right, now I'm going to take this out. Okay, and I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue into my little crevices. Not hot glue, super glue. I think I'm going to use this one just because I trust it a little bit more. So I'm just going to add a little in these crevices where I want it to stick. Same thing on this side. Running low, so I'm going to have to get some more of this today. Okay, put that in there. Okie dokie. Now, you want to be mindful of where your creases are, and then just push it up in there gently. Okay, and then you can take your skewer or another round object and just kind of use that to press in to really get it locked into that glue. Do the same thing on this side. Just really want to hold on to that glue. Go back over here. Okay, now flip it over. I'm going to add a little bit of glue to that flat side. So right here, I'm going to add a little bit of glue inside there. Right here, pick it up. So the flat sides. Okay, and this time I'm not going to turn it over. I'm going to kind of guide my hand. And just get those to lay down. I don't know if Dawn or some of you remember Laurie when we were doing shoes, making the little foam shoes for our characters, like the little trick-or-treaters. Cousin It, his shoes are completely made out of foam, or craft foam. But this is like the idea is you want to guide your material about the same time so that you don't have big folds in it as much as possible. Except for where you want to have folds, of course. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and take this one and hope that it acts right. And I'm going to apply a little bit, and then I'm going to use my skewer to kind of spread it where I want it to go. So I'm going to take my little skewer and just kind of use that flat side, or this is that nail tool. Use that flat side. You could use the pointy side if you have your skewer. And I'm just spreading that glue around. And then I'm going to kind of work it at about the same time. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go through and trim a little bit. Trim this up a little bit more. It's always better to take off a little bit at a time. You can always take off more. You can't add it back. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit more glue. Laurie remembers. That's good, good, good. Yeah, so you want to just kind of be even when you're stretching it like that. It'll help you curve around those places. And you're going to still have a little bit of folds if you're not pulling really hard. And you're not heated up. But it's not bad. And we're going to put a piece around the bottom anyway. So, okay. So I'm just getting everything set to the sides. Let me grab this. Okay, I'm just letting everything set up really good. We're almost there. Now I'm going to take a piece. I'm going to use a piece of this. Just cut out a square because I know I need at least this size of this opening. And I really don't, because it's going to be up against this. So I may not do that because I don't want to add too much. Give it just a second. Let it finish. Let's set that aside for a second. While that is finishing setting up, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and trim a little bit of excess that's on here. So I'm just laying it against the platform and cutting flat across. Yep, and I'm left-handed, but I cut right-handed because when I was a kid, I broke my left wrist twice and pretty good and had to learn how to do things with my right hand. So there's a lot of things as a left-handed person that I do right-handed or ambidextrous because of breaking my wrist. Almost back around. Okay. Throw that away. These pieces real quick. All right, so now we have our starting base. So we have to decide. Where we want to place our little piece. And I think actually before I do that, I want to go ahead and go around the bottom. You don't have to do this. I'm gonna test it and see if I like it. Let me cut this really quick. Okay, Diane said, now when you use a iron, do you set the iron on the foam and move the iron around? So you can, absolutely. If you'd like, you can put a piece of thin fabric between your foam and the iron, but you don't have to. So you can either set your iron how it's, how you're, like, say this is the hot part of your iron, you can set it up where it's like this, and then just place your material right up on it and kind of rub your hand around on that like that and see. You can also find a way to lay your iron down flat so you have the surface the same as this. There's a lot of different ways. You definitely want to have your iron on set to the highest temperature setting. That is important. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. I don't think my craft foam sheet is even. All right, and I need my X-Acto knife. Okay, and I'm just going to pull it. That's okay, I don't need all that anymore. Did you guys see the little flower we're going to be doing on Monday? Cute, cute, cute. All right. I know there were some new people that had popped on, so I thought I would show you. Okay, grab this. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do this just yet. I'm going to go ahead and pull. I like to do this even when it's probably not necessary, but I just like to do it. It allows me to have extra, I have more to work with when I do it like this. I'm trying to decide if I want to put this around the base. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to grab a little bit of glue. So Elizabeth said this is set to 320. This is extremely hot. You would set your hair straightener to one of the highest settings, around 300 or higher. You just want to be mindful about being on there too long, and you can test it. So I would recommend testing your iron or your heat source, whatever you're using, by taking a small piece of craft foam about this size and just testing it on that surface. I bought a heat plate and it ended up not being a good decision because even on the low setting, it heated it up and melted the craft foam. So lesson learned on that. But I like about 320 degrees is a great, and it's like I said, it's very hot. Very, very hot. So I'm just adding some hot glue just like we did on the blue platform. And I'm just going to go around the bottom with this just to kind of create a more finished off look to my little rock. That way it takes the eye, it doesn't pull the eye to the rock, it kind of takes it away and makes you focus on other parts instead of focusing on that bottom of that rock where I don't want your eyes to be. Okay, get my scissors, cut this off. Okay, and I think that looks good. All right, so now I'm going to take my platform and decide how I want my rock positioned. Oh, also, we want to go ahead and kind of create that shadowing, make the rock look a little bit more realistic if we can. So I'm going to use my little pastels, get my wet paintbrush. And then I'm going to go with this dark gray right here. Because I'm trying to create those shadows. So I'm just going to add a little bit in here. Okay. Put a little bit on here. Right here. And then you can even do a little bit on the sides. Now, remember, we're going to take don't freak out on that. We're going to take just our regular water. We don't need this anymore. I'm going to just plain water. And clean my brush off. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of soften those edges a little bit and kind of blend it. Let me grab my water cup instead of it being way over there the whole time. Okay. Okay. Elizabeth said, I think I'll press some heat presses. Using an iron kind of makes me a little anxious. I completely understand. I like using my heat press. The only thing that I don't care for is the crazy beeping that it does at me. But it's really, like, in my opinion, it's been a really good decision using it. And I actually almost got rid of it right before I started doing this craft. So I'm glad I didn't, because I had not been using it. I was just using my little tiny mini one. But yeah, I highly recommend it. If you can find a good deal on one, I think Karen Haywood found a good deal on one somewhere. You might want to check with her on where she found hers. You don't have to get one this big. You can use a smaller one. And I would keep in mind, you know, whatever your surface is that you're going to be crafting on, like how much space you have in order to have that. So you just need the heat. I got mine on clearance at Walmart a couple years ago, and I'm super glad I did. I think I paid like 40 something for it, and that is, I don't remember what the original price was, but I know it was significantly less. Okay. All right. So there's our rock. All rocky-like. Okay. You can add a little bit more if you want to lighten it up. You could add some shimmer, some light spots. So now I'm going to go ahead and decide where and how I want the placement. And I think I like this look, but I want to wait until I grab her and see how she's going to look on this spot. And I'm doing it off the side. I don't want her right in the middle because I want to be able to add a couple things in front of her. So I want her off to the side and then towards the back. And she's going to go right there. And I think that's going to be a great spot. I can turn this and do it like this too, which is really cute as well. So I may do that. And then I can turn it and see like that. I think I like this one right here, facing the frontmost. So I think that's how I'm going to position her, like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue that down here. I'm going to use some super glue and probably a little bit of hot glue too. So I'm just going to add some super glue underneath it. And you notice I'm not picking it up because I don't want to like forget how I had it positioned that I liked it. So I'm just kind of leaning it. And I'm going to add the hot glue so that I can go ahead and get it to stick on the ground because you know hot glue dries faster. And since I don't trust that glue, I'm just going to add a little bit of that as well. And lay it on there. Okay. Now, let that set up for a second. Another thing I'm going to need to do is grab another skewer, barbecue skewer, because we need to be able to position our girl on the rock. So I'm going to cut this down. So we'll cut it about. We're going to cut it down more. I'm just trying to get it kind of a starting point. I don't want to take too much away. And then I'm going to poke this in probably right in the middle, but I want to just check it again. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to poke this right there in the middle, pretty much. Maybe kind of a little bit forward. Okay. And then I'm just going to go straight down with the pointed side, right down into it. And then pull it back out. Okay, and I know that that much is how much went in. So I need to have at least that much on this side. And then I want to have enough on to go up inside of her. So I'm going to go with about, let's see, about 4 inches. We'll start there. Look at that thing already beeping at me. And I'm going to cut this down. Okay. Now, I'm going to put this in with not the pointed side. Okay. And I have about 1.5 inches sticking out. I'm going to go ahead and bend her. You want to go right up the bottom. I need to turn her around so I can see where I'm going. So let's get her hair up out of the way. Okay. bend her really good because I want to know where I'm going. Right about there. And then I'm just going to turn her back around that I've got her poked. And I'm going to try and go straight down. I want to go up inside of her body and not come out her back or anything like that. So I want to try and keep it straight. And now she's on. Okay, so now that I've got the groundwork laid, I'm going to take her off. And we're going to glue this part in first. So we're going to glue this in first. Let's get her out of the way so we don't get any glue on her. And I'm going to add some hot glue inside of here. And then I'm also going to add some super glue right here. Okay. Stick this in. Now I'm sticking, the point is sticking up. I don't want to put the point side in. I want the point side out. Okay. And then I'm going to add a little bit of super glue to her bottom. I'm going to go in that hole that I made. Okay. I'm going to grab a little bit of hot glue as well. And then I'm going to put a little bit right here. Okay, make sure it's facing the right direction. I don't want to put her on backwards. Keep her hair out of the way. And I'm just going to go right back in. I'm going to take my time because I don't want to come out the back of her body. I guess I could turn around so you guys can see too. Just going to slide it right down onto that. Okay. Make sure she's positioned well in the front. And she is. Her hair's getting everywhere. There we go. There you go, honey. Okay. Now, you want to add little things like, let's see. Let's really quick make some of these little seagrass things right here. I don't know if I showed you that very well. Oh, I dropped the other one. Okay. So what I did was I just made little marks. Really and truly, I don't even know if I made marks. I think I just cut them out. But I'm just going to make like little leaf-looking shapes. Let's see if I can use a pen so you can see what I'm talking about. And I make them taller, and some shorter. And I want them thin, not super thick. Can you see that? I don't know. Looks like it's hard to see. Just trying to give you an idea. You can see with the ones that I cut out. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to make some shorter because you don't want them all the same size. Okay, I did 4, which is more than enough. Now I'm going to take my little X-Acto knife. Let's get this water out of the way so I don't spill it. And I still need my heat press for this part, and then once this part's over, we won't need it anymore. Just going to cut out these little shapes. Like I said, I think whenever I was doing it for the other one, I didn't even draw them. I just kind of made these little long, slim, angled pieces, if that makes sense. Because they don't have to be perfect. All right, so there's our little seagrass, and you can do more than one of these if you'd like to position, you know, more than one on there. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of stretch them a little bit. So I'm going to do that first. Okay, now I'm going to take them and just lay them onto my, let's see if I can move her out of the way. Lay them onto my heat press for a second. And they curl very quickly, but I want to warm up the material a little bit more, so I left it on there a little bit longer. And then I'm just going to kind of create the shape that I want them to take. And then they'll stay. Do another one. I've got these on me. And like I said, I'm just bending them and holding them in the shape that I want them to cool at, and then they'll stay. So I made that one kind of wonky. Let's try it again. Okay. And I don't think I'm going to need all of these, but I might. So it's always good to have a few extra. Okay. All right, so now I have my little shapes, my little leaves shaped. And I'm going to take them and kind of start laying them out to see how I want my my thing to look. So I want them to kind of curl in this direction. Oops, that's upside down. So I'm just going to kind of lay them together first. And I can't lay them on the ground, unfortunately, because they will not stay together. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and lay them, since I kind of have an idea of how I want them to look. Take a little bit of this super glue. I'm going to put a dot right here, and then kind of just start building up how I want it to look. Get a little bit more on there. Okay, do a little bit more right there. Put this one coming out. Okay. So now I have my grass, and I'll just put my grass right here. I think we're going to put it right there, but I have a piece that's being difficult, so we're going to curl that a little bit more. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this. And I'm going to put it kind of up high a little bit because I want it to stick to the wall of the rock. Try to make sure you guys can see. Okay, there's that right there. Ooh, let's not do that. Mercy. Okay, now, I'm moving this. Let me grab my paper towel because I've got super glue on here somewhere. There we go. Okay. Now I want to add some little bubbles. Okay, also this little piece right here, I used some, let me show you. And you can choose to do this if you like. It's completely up to you. I got this at Walmart. They came in a big pack. Sorry. They came in a big pack of like, I think 8 different colors. It's called Softy Air Dry. And they're all primary colors. But what I did was I took a little of this really bright yellow. And it's really, really soft and sticky at first. But the more that you mess with it, it will kind of start to, I guess the oils in your hands will kind of help get it more solid. But I took a piece of the yellow and I took a piece of this white to kind of lighten it up a little bit, make it more under the sea, foamy. I don't know. I just didn't want it super bright orange. And I just mix it together and you can see it's kind of sticky at first. Let me get her out of your hair, out of your way. But this is what we're creating, what I'm going to show you how to create. But this is absolutely not necessary. I kind of did it as an afterthought on her and it worked out and I was glad about it. So I figure I'd show you guys how to do it. It does take about 24 hours to completely dry, but you can already glue it while it's wet. Just know that it's kind of a bit flimsy a little bit. So you want to be mindful of that. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of kneading it to mix the color to get that white and yellow blended real good. I'm going to put this back out of the way. And it will start to kind of, once it starts to dry a little bit, it'll start to kind of not get so sticky either. You really want to make sure it's blended because it'll have little streaks in it. It won't take but a second to blend. And it is starting to get it's starting to dry out. My hands are drying it out a little bit. So what I did was I pinched off pieces, different size. Okay. And then I just kind of roll it up in a ball. Kind of. And then I rolled it long ways in my hands. So I'm just kind of rolling it out, stretching it to make some kind of underwater coral. And I made different sizes. So I started with one like that, make it a little bit longer. Okay, oops, too long. Hold still. Okay. This is air dry foam clay, okay? And if it sticks onto itself, it will stick back to itself. Go ahead and start that one over. So like I said, make them different sizes. Thank you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, she's so cute, Sarah. Can't wait to make this. My granddaughter will love it. They are cute. They are really cute. I hope that you do. There's another one, and then I'm going to do a little one. 2 little ones, probably. And I'll show you kind of how to put it together. And this is super easy, super cool. So there's a little one. One more little one. And that should be enough, hopefully. Okay, now before I put them together, I'm going to take my little dotting tool. And you can totally choose the size that you want of the little hole in the top. But I'm just going to take it and I'm going to push it in to make this kind of like opening. Okay? And I'll do that on all of these. I'm just pressing it right into the top. And if you find that it's sticking to your tool, just wait a second, let it dry out just a hair, and it won't stick anymore. Now, to add a little bit of depth to it, I will take my chalk pastel. And I think we're going to go with this color or this color. I'm not sure just yet. Let me see. Let's try this little brush. And I'm going to scratch it up a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to scratch this one because I want to do something else that you guys need to see. Okay. Get a little bit of water on my brush. Just a little bit. Pick up some of this. And I'm just going to kind of give it some contrast in the top. Okay? So I'm just giving it a little bit of contrast. I don't even, yeah, it's picking it up good. And I don't want it super wet, so because it's not going to need to, since the foam, the craft foam is wet, like moist, the powdery of the chalk pastel will stick to it very well. Okay. All right, now you can add just a little bit to some of the sides. You can add this after you get it together if you want. This will just give it a little bit more realism. A little bit of depth, okay? Now, another thing you can do, I'm going to show you, is you can make little lines in this if you want with your skewer. Again, this just makes it look more like one of those real deal things. And I'm going to have to fix this one because it is not down in far enough. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and redo that one too. Okay. Now I'm going to close this up. Sarah, is there a link for the air dry material? I got it at Walmart, so I'll go, after we get off this live, I will go on Amazon and see if I can find the same thing on Amazon. So now what I'm going to do, they'll just stick together very easily. So I'm just going to add them like this. Okay. And I'm trying to keep them separated. You don't want them to stick together where you don't want them to. Okay, and you just manipulate it how you want. And then I will add a little bit of super glue. But first I need to figure out where I want to put it. I think we're going to put it right in front. Just trying to keep them away from each other while I figure out where I want them to be. Maybe in the back. Okay, I think I'm going to put it right there. So let's move her hair out of the way. Oops, not that. Lay that back down, make sure nothing's touching. And then on the back side is where I'm going to put the super glue. You don't want to leave it face down for long because it will lean towards itself. Okay, put it right there. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. Okay. All right, so that's on there. Now let's add some little jewels. Karen said, oh, I will look online. We don't have any Walmarts here on the peninsula. Got it. It is called Soft Tea Air Dry Modeling Compound. It's by Craze Art. This one is. Oops. Goodness. There you go. And I will make sure and grab a link too. So, okay, so we've got this now, and I really like it. Just remember, be patient with yourself because it is very sticky at first. It just needs a second. Okay, so now we're going to add our little jewel bubble things. I call them bubbles. I don't know if they are. I used one of each size. There's a large, medium, and a small. And you just pick whatever colors that you prefer. So last time I did greens and purples and blues. I think I'm going to grab a couple of these. I like that color. And I'm just going to pop them down here. And I recommend using, like I said, one of each size if you can. Here's another size. And these are very sticky. So they stick really well on here. Let's get a pink. And you just space them apart however much you want. And I like 6 total. So I'm going to put 3 more right here. So we'll do, which one do I want to do? How about this one? And I'm going to put that one there. And we'll do a pink mid-size. And I'll put that one here. And then I'm going to do this really pretty greeny blue color and put that one right there. All right. And I think it's really cute. You can add a few more little things, some little sea flowers, however you want to do it. But this is pretty much, that's pretty much it. Now, if you wanted to add a dingle hopper to her hand, you would obviously get a little fork and then just glue her hand around it. Just like that. They mold very well. You can bend her hands as much as you like. And then we'll go ahead and glue down her hair. So to do that, what I do is turn her upside down. And I start with the back. And I'm just going to add a little bit of glue where I want her hair to lay. Okay. And then gently turn her over. Definitely want to make sure that the two front pieces are in the front. Okay, and then I just gently smooth down. Just to kind of get it to grab without like being flattening the hair. And I'm just going to gently press it into there. Now for the front part, I'll pull this up like this. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue right here. Get that. I don't want to get these two front pieces. That's really important that I don't get those where I don't want them. I don't want to accidentally stick them in the back, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to add a little bit here as well. Keep those two front pieces out of the way. Okay, now with the front pieces, I will lift it up and just add a little bit right here. Lay that one on. Get this one on there. Just very gentle. That's the key. Just remember to be very gentle. You don't want to smash it on there so that her hair is just smashed down. And then any little white pieces, if you see any, you can use your heat gun and activate those so that you're not having to worry about the look of that. It'll completely go away. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of hot glue right here. Lay that one down first, that one, and I'll push them together very gently so they fill in any gaps. And there is your beautiful, beautiful little mermaid, little Miss Ariel. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you, thank you. So I am super excited for you guys to try this. I know that people are going to go crazy once you get these made. You guys are going to be blown away because people are going to be driving you crazy with wanting them. So I encourage you to make this. I challenge you to make this, and then I'm going to make a post so you guys can share I want you to show off your mermaid or your bee if you make your bee this go round. So, and if you do, which I need to let, May was crazy chaotic, but I need to let, I can't remember who it was, but the one who made the woodland gnome, she won the giveaway for May because she was the one who had submitted her character. So guys, I want to encourage you. Submit your characters, show me your work in the show and tell if you want, for an extra entry into the monthly giveaway. Like I really want to encourage you guys to do that. It also kind of helps me, when you guys complete your projects, because then I can show off my ability to teach. But then I can show off your work that you've done in the Makers Club, and so people can see things that are being made in there by other people, not just me. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I appreciate you letting me come back on today and finish up. I hope that you guys enjoyed this class. I really think you're going to really enjoy this character, and I can't wait to share more of them with you. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye.